I'm Molly Boz. I am a cookbook author and a founder of a company named AO and another company called Drink This Wine and a general just food person. And today I'm going to show you guys how to make the pistachio brown butter and halva chocolate chunk cookies from my second cookbook, More is More. I hate chocolate. It's something about me that wish I could change, and I've thought about going to a hypnotist, but I haven't found the time to yet. Chocolate tastes bitter to me in like a very unpleasant way, which is not something that I have a problem with when it comes to like coffee or radicchio. Like I eat bitter things, but there's just something about the astringency and bitterness of chocolate that just doesn't accord well with my palate. And I don't know how to explain it. It just tastes bad to me. So this was the first recipe that I ever developed using chocolate because I don't have a taste for it. And so as a recipe developer, it's very hard to develop a recipe for something that you hate. As I got like further and further along in my career, it started to feel really strange that I had never made a chocolate anything. And so I was like, I'm gonna dive in and I'm gonna make chocolate chip cookies because they're iconic. These are not your average chocolate chip cookies. They're pistachio brown butter chocolate chunk cookies with halva, which means that part of the base of the dough is ground pistachios. So I have raw, untoasted pistachios here. And then when they get to this stage where they're like kind of blitzed up, kind of chunky, still some nice little pieces, we're gonna take a few out, just a couple of tablespoons, because these will be what we coat the cookies with when we roll the balls of dough later on. And the rest of the pistachios will stay in and get ground a little bit more finely. Think of it like an almond flour or another alt nut flour. That's the sort of texture that you're looking for. And we're going to brown some butter, and then they're gonna get toasted into the butter. When you brown butter, the milk solids, which are like the little bitsy brown bits, get stuck to the bottom of the pot if you don't move them around. So good practice to be whisking as you go. Dark chocolate, because I hear that's what people like. Okay, so we're just gonna chop the chocolate like kind of rough and tumble. It doesn't need to be super fine, and it can also be kind of irregular. Butter is bubbling and foaming up here, which means that the liquid is cooking off. This is a good time now to add our pistachios, and we want to do so before it turns super brown because we're going to brown them with the butter. So I'm over like medium heat, and it's really important to just stir now because we want everything to cook really evenly. Kind of archetypal, iconic cookie structure is one that is chewy at the center when you break it, so it has like a little bit of give, but then is crisp at the edges. So I worked on this recipe for a very long time to ensure a cookie that has that nice balance. So that is kind of what you're looking for in terms of the toastiness of the pistachios and the color of the butter. This stuff here, that is the good stuff. That is all of the flavor, so you don't want to leave any of that behind because that is the browned milk solid component of brown butter. Okay, and then the next step here, which you don't see in all recipes and is kind of a crucial part of the texture of this cookie, is adding ice cubes to the brown butter. So not only does that help to cool it down, to stop the cooking, to retard any further browning, but it also adds a little bit of moisture to the dough in the form of water, which when combined with the flour in the dough creates gluten, which creates this like chewy texture to the cookie. I'm gonna let this cool in the fridge just to speed it along. So this butter has cooled for like 10 minutes. It's slightly thickened. It's not super piping hot anymore. So we're gonna go ahead now and add the two types of sugars. So dark brown sugar and granulated sugar. And the reason that we use two different types is dark brown sugar has very molassesy, caramelly notes. It's made with molasses. And it also has a bit more liquid, moisture content. And so we use a balance of both so that we're not adding too much liquid when we add the sugar, but we still benefit from that molassesy flavor. I'm gonna crack 1 egg right in, a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and then whisk this. All-purpose flour, salt, baking soda. All right, so here is our dough. It looks a little bit loose right now. That's because it's still warm. It's going to firm up in the fridge. So I'm gonna add the chocolate, reserving some for later on because we're gonna put a little bit on top so that we have those melty puddles on top. And then the last thing that's going in is halva. Halva is a Middle Eastern sesame paste-based confection. And this kind of has this like marshmallowy sesame flavor to it. It's best to chill this overnight, but you could chill it just like up to a couple of hours until the dough is really firm. And that helps with the hydration, with the flour kind of hydrating in the dough. The more that you leave it in the fridge and cure it, the deeper and more complex the flavor is. So if you wanna make this 2 days in advance and just throw it in the fridge and then scoop them 2 days later, that would be highly recommended, but not necessary. There's already a lot going on. And so all we've got to do is kind of scoop it all out, but this is like what a 2-ounce scoop will look like. And then each one gets rolled in some more pistachio. And then I place them on the prepared baking sheet and just kind of prop in a few more pieces of chocolate onto each one. That way, as they cook, the chocolate will melt into the top. And then same goes with the halva. Okay, it seems like a lot, but the cookie's gonna spread and it's a more is more situation, if you will. And they're going into a 375-degree oven. It's important to use an oven thermometer. I have baked these cookies at all different temperatures, and 375 is the sweet spot for the kind of spread and ripple effect. So get an oven thermometer if you don't have one. And this is what they look like when they're baked. Adding the ice into this brown butter here and incorporating water into the dough is how we achieve this like thick-ish cookie that kind of ripples out towards the outer edges that are then thinner and crispier. And then last thing, this is a recommended element of all chocolate chip cookie recipes, a little bit of flaky sea salt, just to bring all the other sweet flavors out. It's helpful to do it when they're warm because the salt will stick. And those are the pistachio brown butter halva chocolate chunk cookies from More is More.